The 5 police officers were arrested for Tyre Nichols' death. Will there be justice for Tyre Nichols? What's next?
Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk with yours truly, Big Chief and Stero. Today we're going to talk about the case of Tyre Nichols, the young man who was brutally beaten by those police officers in Memphis, Tennessee, and died as a result of said beating. Very, very sad, case in the news right now. So yeah, we're gonna get into it, Chief.
Hey, what's going on, boss?
Everything is good, man. Giving thanks. You know we here.
Yeah, man. Only blessed and good salvation, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So today we're discussing the case of the 5 officers that were not only fired but also subsequently indicted. So it's Thaddeus Bean, Demetrius Haley, Emmett Martin III, Desmond Mills Jr., and Justin Smith. They were all terminated, and in addition to also being indicted. Now, this is stemmed from the arrest or attempted arrest of Tyre and subsequent being killed when they were trying to to arrest him. Now, in terms of the arrest, we see that there were 2 attempts to arrest him. One is when they pulled him over, stopped him, and allegedly because he was recklessly driving. That's what they wrote in their report. He was actually like, while I'm being pulled over, they dragged him out the car. They said that he was basically resisting. He came at them. They tased him. They tried to cuff him. They tased him. And he got away from them and started running, and they tased him again and pepper sprayed him. And the second attempt, when they started chasing him, that's when the beating occurred.
I mean, in 2023, to see this type of, behavior from, law enforcement who are put in place to protect and serve, it's very disgusting, man,
Yeah.
And to know that this young man lost his life as a direct result of this, I mean, it's just like, it's just ineffable,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still kind of in shock. Like, to be fair, I haven't watched the video.
But why are you in shock?
Why am I in shock?
Yeah, because it's been going on for many years, and it doesn't really, to me, it doesn't matter whether or not they were white cops or black cops. It's all about a brotherhood to them.
Okay, but at the same time, how many arrests have involved a beating that resulted in death? I mean, okay, the George Floyd situation, for example. There was an officer with his knee in his neck for almost 10 minutes that we saw unfold.
On tape.
That, led to his death. No beating. Just, being restrained in a very, unjust fashion. So for this individual to die, I mean, it's almost like Rodney King all over again. And as viciously as they beat him back in the early 90s, he still survived that.
Yeah.
So it's surprising to know that, officers of the law are able to, execute, what would you say, street justice? I mean, to a level that, it's just deplorable, man. And that's why I guess I'm in shock, because this individual has passed. A young man, you know? And a young black man with a future ahead of him, that wasn't really, I haven't heard anything about his background as far as being a miscreant or a troublemaker.
Yeah, there's nothing into that effect. He worked for FedEx, and he was an avid skateboarder, and
so this is a young kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for him to just lose his life and be beat brutally like a vicious animal in the street.
Yeah.
It's just sad,
And it happened down, I think it was like maybe 8 rows down
From his
from his
house.
house. Yeah,
I mean,
and in which he was calling out for his mother's, to come and help him or whatever it is, just screaming out, "Hey, mommy, mom!" And unfortunately, she wasn't around. She didn't hear, and they didn't care. First, I just give you a background of the officers. So they're a part of an elite squad called the Scorpion Squad. This is what we call in the streets, the jump out boys.
Now, let me just interject real quick. Usually, these types of units,
Squads, yeah.
okay, squads, we all know that they're put in the community to target people of color, historically speaking, because they have not been placed in communities that are, affluent with people who are, not minorities. So,
But their response to that, they would be like, well, in a community that's affluent or in a suburban area, there's no need for those type of squad because the type of crime and level of crime that's happening in those communities is nil, right? So hence, thus you will have to have those type of squad within the communities where these crimes are happening.
I mean, if you take it back to, the days in LA with the crash unit and those, anti-gang units.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You understand?
Yeah.
And whether or not, there's crime there of that level in those communities that are not, predominantly minority, it's still affecting people of color disproportionately.
And you don't forget, remember Amadou Diallo?
Yes.
When the same type of squad that was set up in New York City that was looking for like guns and stuff like that jumped out the car, accosted him. He pulled out his wallet in the vestibule, and an officer got a little jumpy, and they thought it was a gun, a black wallet, and they shot at him, I think like 52 times, and he got killed, and nothing happened with that, right? And later on, many years later, then you also had the stop and frisk. The jump out boys just jump out. They search you, and if you don't have anything on you, they jump back in the car and leave. And that basically happened to me many years ago. I think it was maybe 20 years ago.
Really?
Yes. I was on White Plains Road. I met this girl, and I was supposed to go on a date with her or whatever. She told me to meet her on White Plains Road in the Bronx. So 24 years ago, excuse me. So I took the train, right? And I got off at 225th Street, and I got on the phone. I was making a phone call on the pay phones or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And she told me she's coming downstairs and she wanted me to meet her mom's. So I'm waiting in the corner, and it was like snowing, little snowflakes or whatever, and it was coming down. It was sticking to the floor. And all of a sudden, I got slammed to the damn phone, slammed to the ground, and had 10 police officers. They were in plain clothes. They had their badge out, and there was someone called for someone that had a gun or whatever it is. And they had me on the floor or whatever. They had their foot in my back, and they were searching me to pull me over, roll me over, and was searching nothing on me. I had a white shirt on and a white jacket, and it was all muddy and dirty up or whatever it is. And then while I was on the ground, the girl came with her mom's on this and was they were shocked, what is happening? And then the police officers just jumped back in the vehicle. I got up off the ground, and they were like, oh, this happened a lot around here, whatever. I'm so sorry this happened to you, whatever it is. And I was so angry at what took place, right? And then I looked down the block, and I seen that there was a guy that was coming out of the house. He was walking down the steps, and those same police officers, they were driving in two vehicles. While he was coming down the stairs from his home, they went up on the steps and also threw him up against the wall and was searching him. And I was so angry because I'm not a criminal, never got arrested, never been to jail, right? I was a hard worker, but they just target who they want to target, randomly, right? And I can understand when the stop and frisk thing was occurring that, listen, this is like you're trampling on my civil rights, right? And also human rights. And I was never in agreement with that. And this type of squad was set up, but it was not a squad that was equitable because they don't go into certain neighborhoods. Even in certain neighborhoods, they don't go in certain neighborhoods and accost certain individuals. It's, you have to be either black or Hispanic.
I mean, the psychological effects, like I'm sure that experience still resonates with you today.
Mm-hmm.
And that was over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that at the end of the day, these types of units that are placed within our communities, you know what I'm saying, for individuals such as yourself that are not involved in any malfeasance or wrongdoing, the psychological effects of being, victimized by these individuals, it's long lasting.
Yeah.
So we have to, have some type of accountability as far as, okay, so they've been fired, they've been indicted. What next? Will they be charged with murder?
But the thing here is that we all know that they're black cops, right? We all know that. And this was the most speediest firing and indictment we have ever seen when it comes to police officers in America.
Of course, because they don't have the complexion for the protection. So therefore, I mean, it's going to be swift justice.
It was very swift.
Because had their officers have been, another race, there would have been all types of investigations pending.
They would have been they would have been put on desk duty while the investigation occurs, or suspended with pay and stuff like that.
So the systematic racism that is, omnipresent within our society, I mean, it's visible. You have to be, blind to not really see what's transpiring.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, the accountability factor is what I'm concerned with at this point. You said that his parents were invited to Capitol Hill?
Yes, last night. The State of the Union address by President Joe Biden. His mother and father was there and was invited by the First Lady Jill Biden, and they were acknowledged.
I mean, okay, they were invited, they were acknowledged. That doesn't bring their son back.
Correct, but Joe Biden, the president, was basically saying he quoted his mother that let something good come out of this, and the president was telling the Congress that you guys need to do something in terms of passing the law, in terms of police reform and so forth.
I mean, as far as something good coming from it, I'm not too sure about that. That might be the wrong choice of word. Maybe justice for, the individual and his parents and family so that they can get some type of closure. Because at the end of the day, all 5 of these police officers and the 1 or 2 additional officers that were on scene or present are still walking around and living their lives, going home to their families, and, doing their due diligence day to day.
And, people are saying that, I've seen in the past where they're saying that, this individual was abused or was killed because of the race of the police officers, and because he's black, and police officers white, but we all know that it's not so in this circumstance, right? And we all know that whether they're black police or white police officers, when it comes to police brutality, it knows no color.
I mean,
it's all about the.
It's a blue shield.
It's a blue shield. It's it's a brotherhood,
basically.
Because we also see the Freddie Gray case in Maryland, and they gave him a rough ride, right? This is a couple many years ago, maybe like 7 to 8 years ago. He got arrested. They gave him a rough ride. Put him in the paddy wagon in the back of the van. They handcuffed him, but didn't strap him down. And they gave him a rough ride, and he broke his neck and died, right? So, but we all know that the mayor was a black woman. And a lot of the leaders were black. But the establishment and system that was put in place prior to them being there is still there, right?
Definitely.
There was no accountability. And the thing here is that whether we have white individuals that's in charge or black individuals in charge, it doesn't really matter when it comes to. I don't want to say it doesn't really matter. It's like nothing changed. Nothing changed. So you have to put procedures in place to make that change and accountability. We also have to be. We put people of color that look like us to represent us in office, but we also got to demand accountability from them as well.
So moving forward, we'll see where this particular case or how it ends up as far as the justice being metered out for these police officers. You know what I mean? So, I mean, at the end of the day, stay tuned, like, subscribe, and share. And we'll definitely keep you abreast of the developments.
Yes.
And until next time, Big Chief, Stero, bless.
Socialmobie.com